Good morning, Gardenia! Happy Friday. We made it. It is our first Fina Friday with co-host Fina Bonone. We're going to get to her in just a minute. And, we're going to make our promos really quick because we got some bad news. Bad news is the show started 9 minutes late today, and I'm not dressed. I don't know. Do you want to see my hair? My hair under the hat? Probably not. And I'm wearing my, someone called this it's my Hans and Franz sweatshirt. Yeah, we're going to pump you up today with good news, because the good news is there's too much good news. That's why we're late. I've been flooded. The Producers Club is doing such an awesome job sending stories. Good News Network, who we talk about almost every day on the show to end with our good news in history. So much, really just, every Friday, I take all the stories that we didn't get to during the week because I held them for Friday as good news. And there was a big pile this week. And I did not look at Drudge. I am clean. I am psychologically pure this morning. I'll get to the news, the normal news of what's going on in the world later today. And as always, we'll get you all caught up on Monday. But there's nothing. There were no shootings, explosions, or wars started today that you have to worry about. COVID rolls on. There's bullshit coming and going left and right, and we're knee deep in it. And who cares? Nothing important. Here's the good stuff. Actually, today we start with a COVID story, funny enough. But first, just to get the promos out of the way, and unless Jim really wants to come on screen and say something right now, AdamVersusTheMan.com. That's it. You can find everything. Get our merch. Find us on Patreon, blah, 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 blah. And we're still recruiting. We're looking to bring on more people for 3 main projects I'm working on. The Gardenia Sovereignty Project. And I'm sorry, by the way, there's still some people from last week that have been going down the email list. I should have been going up in chronological order. So there's some people in there who emailed me when we first posted this a week and a half ago now, 2 weeks Monday. And they're like, why haven't you responded to the emails yet? I'm getting some repeats. Hopefully this weekend I'll get caught up, but I don't know, because good news here. And if you're in the Telegram group for our Producers Club, because you join Patreon for $10 a month, you get to see exclusive content. Like I did a 12-minute video yesterday as an update on the cabin project here in Gardenia, and Craig wants to join us now and help out. It's really cool. We got a 40-foot by 16-foot. I guess I should start referring to it by square footage. 600. Do you count the lofts and you don't count the deck, or you don't count a carport as square footage? Anyway, it's a really awesome cabin project that we're working on here. And this weekend, I've got some exciting visitors coming to help, and I've got some guests here. We've got more people coming. Very excited about all that. Peter Yapel, the pastor, Peter Yapel, at Can We Talk 420, and Helen Yapel. Well, Helen's not going to make it this weekend. She's working her job type job this weekend, unfortunately, as opposed to the stuff the rest of us do to pay the bills or get out of paying the bills one way or another. So check that out. And if you want to see what we're doing here in Gardenia, at the Garden of Freedom on Instagram. So without further ado, where's some comments? Let's get some comments up on screen. Check in with the audience this morning. I hope everyone is enjoying their Friday as much as I am, whether you're watching this morning or later. Did someone say fuck the government? Yeah, that was Lenny Bruce. If you can't say fuck, you can't say fuck the government. B. Hornington, best show since Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson didn't have Good News Fridays, did he? I think we're better. I think we're building. We're building on the clearly. Adam versus the Man is an evolution of the Johnny Carson model. What else do we have here? Kay Goldrick, where's your mask, boy? You're breathing all over the camera. It's not that cool. Actually, I should turn the heater down here. It's finally warming up. That's what I'm really excited about here in Gardenia. It's been. I mean, I think we had the last cold enough snap of the early spring to be yeah, winter is done. We're coming out of it now. And last night, again, if you go to the Instagram at the Garden of Freedom, you can see the campfire we did last night. I got a new toy. I'm so thrilled with this because I couldn't have built one better myself. We have a fire circle with a swivel over grill, footrest around the bottom, ledge around the side, perfect bowl. I mean, it's amazing. So let's get our co-host. It's her first time. Please welcome Fina Benoan coming to us from all the way in Hawaii. Welcome to the show, our first Fina Friday. How you doing, Fina?
Hey, Adam. Thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me join the crew. And you know what? I am so pointless today. I'm sorry. I am so fucking pointless. Like, I can't make these comments come up for anything.
Like, what was that last one? What was the last one? Sub, brother, Smoke a Bowl Friday and tell fake news to go. You know the rest. Yeah, well, there's a lot of ways you could complete that sentence, right? Okay, so Fina, but why don't you? I know you'll figure this out. Very intuitive, and it's. By the way, this is our first like launch of the co-host team officially. Someone here who's assigned to be co-host by co-host team captain Stephen McClure of Homefront Battle Buddies. But Fina, you're also a Navy veteran and a cannabis enthusiast, and hopefully soon a board member for Homefront Battle Buddies.
Hopefully. Yeah, I was in the Navy for 10 years, and since I've been out, I run the Hawaii. I run the Oahu chapter of the Hawaii Veterans Cannabis Alliance out here in Hawaii. So, yeah, I like weed. I like my time that I was in the military. Good morning, everyone. I'm in Hawaii. I love it. It's 5:16 in the morning. I got lipstick on already.
Yeah, like so for me, this is a morning show. For Fina, it's a first thing in the morning show. Getting up early, celebrating Friday. Well, Fina, since you're so good at getting vets stoned, you know that Homefront Battle Buddies is kind of taking that to the next level. Well, what do you got there? What are you smoking this morning?
This morning is Rainbow Kush.
Rainbow Kush. That sounds very Hawaiian.
It is.
The land of rainbows. Okay, so I've got Grease Monkey, not nearly as romantic sounding. This is from SWC, a Columbia Care company. I think it's this SWC is the name. SWC Prescott. I'll promote or at least quick plug this dispensary. Not for being anything special, but great dispensary, good people, always good service, and now recreational sales in Arizona. Oh my gosh, this stuff smells amazing. Prices are going up though across the board. I got to say, we're in a weird time for the cannabis market, as there are still supply chain issues, retail issues, organizational business regulatory bullshit issues. And a surge in demand with as many states as have gone recreationally legal in 2020 now, taking effect in 2021. Just this last week, I got to point this out in our Good News Friday episode. The decrim of all entheogenic, that's all plant-based psychedelics, took effect in DC. So LSD not legal, MDMA not legal, methamphetamine still not legal, but mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms, mescaline, DMT, peyote, like all entheogenic plant-based medicines, decrim in DC, not legal for sale. There aren't mushroom stores on the corner, but it's at the point where an individual can comfortably, legally, under at least district law, possess psilocybin mushrooms in DC. There's quantity limits and usage and stupid shit like that. But you can have a terrarium, a little aquarium thing, and be growing mushrooms and have a regular supply for you and yourself or your family, your friends in DC with a setup like that, and be pretty comfortable. We're a long time still, I think, from getting to where we are with cannabis with mushrooms, and it'll never be the same, obviously. But very good news. So anyway, Fina, I'm going to take a toke. To maybe join me, but first story today. Oh, Jim too.
Producer note. Sorry, I'll hit it with you guys too. Yeah. Smoke weed every day. I don't have the audio buttons like CJ does. That's not within StreamYard. He uses a separate program for that.
You got to get set up, man.
He'll have to show me.
You're gonna make me pull up the music.
I'm smoking Black Mamba too, by the way. Black Mamba. It's not bad. I'm almost out. producer notes. Welcome to the show, Fina. She was recently on Gym versus Demand, so that was fun. She's saying she's having problems pulling up comments. CJ's talking to her in the co-host chat on Telegram. I know you mentioned you can't look at Telegram. Are you on your phone right now or a laptop?
Hold on, Jim. We're gonna solve this off the air smoothly here. Fina's gonna stick with me on screen to do our first news story because it's about weed. We got better news about weed than you could have hoped for this week. So we're gonna get to that, and then we're gonna get into the human optimization block, and Fina can get behind the scenes and connect with Steven or CJ or whomever. I'm sure she'll get it figured out in a minute or two.
Yeah, I think she just needs to log into StreamYard. So
she's got an assistant here. Someone else has snuck in behind the scenes and is posting comments for her. So it's like we've got a co-host on the comments. Whoever's doing that until she figures it out. That's great. Keep them coming. All right, so I'm going to DC to trip and laugh at the liberal statist bitches. Thank you, Michael Mulkey. That's a good comment. So
I want to say before we move on about DC, you were talking about how they got legalized all the drugs, all the drugs, but you also said right, but you specifically said not meth, but meth actually is kind of legal if you have a prescription.
Yes. Oh God.
I think they figured we're on drugs. Coming along. We're winning.
Yeah, no. That, you know what? I got to rephrase that in the most hilarious way now because it's just, oh my God, yes, you have to. Like, this is one of the fun things about being a libertarian. You know, I quote who was it that said was it the Buddha? No, it was oh my gosh, I can't remember it. Who's the leader of Tibetan Buddhism? Why the Dalai Lama? One of the Dalai Lamas said, when asked what's the first thing you would do if you were president, he said, I would start by calling things by their real names. And the libertarian response is, police are thugs, war is murder, politicians are criminals, and government is a racket. Oh yeah, and taxation is theft. Like let's be honest about that. And when you go like, well, what's meth use in the United States today? Holy shit, the pharmaceutical companies took meth, made it legal, more addictive, and figured out a way to get government to pay for your kids to be on it every day. Whoa. Oh shit. You put it like that, it's
capitalism is bad.
Oh yeah, pharmaceutical corporatism, God, makes me need to take another hit.
Yeah, they say capitalism is bad. It's that is government overregulation, and it has caused the problem we're in now. And that's why we have so many people in jail. So many people in jail.
Well, our top story today in human optimization and good news comes from goodnewsnetwork.org. Cannabis compound inhibits COVID-19 replication in human lung cells. Yeah, just one. You know what? I've got like it really gets you to what can only be described as like a spiritual connection with cannabis. I hate to like be all about cannabis first thing. I don't really hate it, but when you like to hear passionate advocates talk about the significance of cannabis and that your brain is programmed with receptors for cannabinoids and that it's a plant that we have co-evolved with for millennia that has incredible benefits that have been kept from us by the war on drugs for decades now. When we are most capable of realizing those benefits, when we're able to just a globally connected world where you can call someone on the other side of the planet and be like, hey, we've got this strain of cannabis that does this. Hey, over here, we took our cannabis and we sent it through a machine and we made roads or bricks or, a way to solve every human health problem. And now you go, oh, well, geez, so shocking. You're less likely to get COVID if you smoke pot too. It's probably not that simple, but the studies or the article says in a study undergoing peer review, the CBD compound from cannabis has been found to stop COVID-19 replication in lung epithelial cells, suggesting the plant medicine holds yet another astounding quality. Furthermore, observational data from patients who were taking CBD before they were tested for coronavirus show that its use was associated with a significantly lower infection incidence rate than those not taking CBD. Measured together with its metabolite 7-OH-CBD, cannabidiol, inhibited the expression of certain genes within the viral cells and reversed changes in gene expression within the lung cells, resulting from the presence of COVID-19. In other words, it had both a protective and a therapeutic role. I mean, just fucking incredible. And sometimes when I see studies like this or headlines like this, I go, oh, okay, they've got this thing in a lab where they showed this one little thing, and it's a long ways from practical application. Not the case here. Not the case here, right? I mean, take CBD, be less likely to get COVID. Oh, and by the way, probably less likely to get cancer. I don't know what else.
Less likely to die. I don't know. Sadness.
You're I told you to wait. You should have waited. I see your Telegram messages. This is like I'm in the back seat and you're texting and driving, and I'm going, hey, we're trying to get somewhere, Fina. I know it's really early there. I know you haven't had enough coffee yet.
I've been listening to you the whole time. You were talking about all the benefits of weed, CBD to like diseases and stuff. Excuse me, disease. I'm not saying that weed is necessarily going to cure your cancer, but it's going to make your life with cancer a lot better.
Well, that's one thing. Well, also as a preventative. And I should probably have the study bookmarked, but one of the ones that I like to cite goes back, I think, like a decade, where they did a longitudinal, long time based study of people who smoked cigarettes versus people who smoked cigarettes and cannabis. And guess what?
What?
Cancer rate was way lower in those who smoked cigarettes with cannabis. It's like if you're going to smoke, and it's, even tobacco, we talked about this on the show yesterday, I think, about tobacco and nicotine, that, tobacco is in and of itself not nearly as harmful as modern manufactured cigarettes full of chemicals and shit, and all the carcinogens that they add to cigarettes. If you can smoke clean tobacco, there's a reason that it was used by Native Americans as a sacrament.
Absolutely.
And we have so perverted that into disgusting, destructive, commercialized version of that. So what are you smoking now?
Well, you're talking about these tasty treats, right?
That's my fault, right?
It's like 5:30 in the morning. It's not even 5:30 in the morning yet here. I have not even morninged yet. I have not morninged at all yet.
All right. Well, I just like this CBD, cannabis overall, we're about to have the study that says if you smoke pot, you're less likely to get COVID, and it's going to be the government. There's so many. I feel like right now, and maybe it's a Good News Friday thing that has me in touch with some of my more positive thoughts, but it feels like, what I talk about is the acceleration of the human experience, the asymptote, the driven by technology, that the nature of the human experience is acceleration over time, that it was like an exponential growth curve. It looks flat and then boop, hockey stick. And we're at this blade of the hockey stick part of the curve now. We're coming to this with technology where it's like, oh yeah, we made cannabis illegal for all those years. Yeah, that was really dumb. We're going the opposite direction now. We're going to fully utilize it to enhance society. I don't know. Do you think there are implications for Hawaii with COVID? And because you guys have been through some crazy shit with lockdowns and shutdowns, and particularly the economic implications of the tourist industry dying.
Yeah. Well, you came out here to Hawaii. You came out to Maui, at least, and you saw how that was. Maui's a little bit different than Oahu. Oahu's like the main island that most people fly into directly. It's where Pearl Harbor is. It's where Waikiki, Honolulu, North Shore, surfing, all that. That's here on this island. And then there's the big island where the volcano is. Most people want to just kind of visit. And then there's Maui where you went. And the tourism has definitely taken a toll, especially considering the 14-day quarantine they have. Now, I was telling you about the different islands. This is, I don't know if we call this wins when we start getting our liberties back. Can we not call it wins? I don't feel good about that. I don't feel good about
It's healing. It's because you don't feel good about the perspective of calling it a victory, but it's healing, right? And you can still feel good about restoring or coming back to health, right?
Restoration. There we go. I like restoration. That's a strong word. Restoration. I like that. So the restoration process. This week, or what they have lifted one of the bans on getting tested for COVID to go inter island. So when I went to go visit you on Maui, right? They had to take a COVID test, and that COVID test costs more than a plane ticket. Than the plane ticket to go from inner island. It costs more for that. And plus it took your days away. It takes your days away. And that's just not good for business. But that was a restoration. So that's helped. As far as tourism goes, though, yeah, COVID's been bad for everything. Especially bad for tourism.
All right, well, I'm going to jump into the rest of this human optimization blog. Fina's going to keep the comments coming, and we'll check back in with her as we do on our Friday shows in between segments. We've got the cutting edge of human optimization, tech innovation, exploration. We've got 2 alien life stories, and one of them is a really big, no, it wasn't. And of course, understanding nature. We've got some fun stuff there. Apparently, there was a walrus who turned up in Ireland because he floated there while napping accidentally on an iceberg. Stay tuned. We'll get to that and more. But first, another one from goodnewsnetwork.org, and I love this. Being around birds makes us much happier, says New Science. Not just happier, much happier. We see them nearly everywhere we go. We hear from them we hear them every day. They live in every environment, and now 2 new studies have shown their mere presence makes us happier. German research has even found that being surrounded by a wide variety of birds can offer increasing life satisfaction equivalent to $150 per week of added income. Oh man, really? They were able to quantify it like that? Like, oh, some capitalist was in on this study, right? Yeah, someone who was really, really, where's the value? How do we convince people 100, like, and they have this all comparison already, so they didn't have to do like crazy math or new surveys or studies, but German research, I'm going to say this again, German research has even found that being surrounded by a wide variety of birds can offer increasing life satisfaction equivalent to $150 per week of added income. Life satisfaction. See, this is one of the things that to understand capitalism properly, separate from corporatism, separate from a government-managed economy, separate from what we have today, but a truly voluntary system of exchange, is that we no longer, the fiat currency is inherently anti-capitalist. You can't say you have a capitalist system when you have socialist or communist or fiat currency or some money that's forced on the economy, right? So right now, one of the negative side effects of the fiat currency being forced on the world, or fiat currencies being the dominant currencies forced on the world by governments all over the world, is that we measure value in what's in dollars. But what this does is uses the dollar valuation to point to the greater good that is the real goal of true capitalism, which could be called life satisfaction, right? You might say quality of life. You might say, I like this. Okay, it's happiness. Does it make you happy? Happy, like, what is the ultimate value in life? To be happy. But maybe at a deeper level, you don't want to be just happy-go-lucky all the time. It's not just pure happiness. It's more complicated than that. It's deeper than that. So the term life satisfaction. The thing is, they already have the studies by which they have a parallel metric that says life satisfaction. It goes up by a certain amount if you give people $150 per week of added income. And now we can say, well, actually, being surrounded by a wide variety of birds, boom, it's the same. So it's $150 a week. I mean, excuse me. I know this is, like, I want to talk about Gardenia now. I want to talk about the birds of Gardenia here in the and I'm in Arizona. I'm in the mountains. I mean, we have winter. In the winter, like, a lot of the birds go away, but the ravens are still here. The ravens are amazing. They imitate other songbirds. They talk to each other. They make all sorts of crazy noise. We have doves here most of the year. We have the most beautiful gray striped-necked doves. We've got some pictures of this on the Instagram account. I got to take pictures through a spotting scope someone brought out here with my cell phone. We've got owls. We've got finches. We've got bluebirds. And I put out seed. Now I'm like, shit, I need to go fill the bird feeders. I got a big bin full of bird seed, and our bird seeders are sitting empty because I need to do a little modification so the seed doesn't spill out quite so fast. They actually have to take them out. Yeah, thank you. Birds are foul. Okay, so we have it's an amazing connection with nature that you say, well, being connected with nature, does that make you happy? Well, what's nature? Everything's fucking nature. Humans are part of nature. It's not, we separate these things artificially in order to serve ourselves and understanding the world better. And sometimes those models help and sometimes they don't. But here we have an even more specific metric of nature being, and hey, there's a video I took of one of the humming. Is that my video? Or is that one of Jim's? Anyway, we have hummingbirds. That's our bird feeder here at Gardenia. I recognize the roof. I recognize the bird. That's Larry. Yeah, that one's Larry. He came by and introduced himself last spring, and then went south for the winter. We're hoping he'll be back here soon. Ronald Cadby with a comment. I'm rich. We put out many pounds of birdseed per week. The variety of birds in Tennessee is amazing. It's funny because people think, I don't dare fucking call where I live the desert. We get 12 and a half inches of rain per year, and 10 is the cutoff. No, we are a dry mountain forest, Mediterranean climate, but it is on the dry side. That means a lot less bugs. We don't have mosquitoes here. Yeah. Your state bird is not even present in Gardenia in our state at all. So birds are fake. Yes, I know they're all government drones. Yes, birds are not real. I understand that. This is all just fantasy talking about birds. None of this is real. So even here in a semi-arid climate, the variety of birds, you put out bird seed, and just to be able to call that nature around you and bring that in, or even without the bird feeders here, they've been empty for like over the winter. I haven't filled them since it got really snowy here. And even without the bird feeders, like, I can look out my window to the 28-foot geodesic dome, and half the time there's a crow or a dove or a couple of they fly in pairs, both of those species, on top of the dome. And to be able to look out and see that and hear that is just, it's amazing. I think, well, I paid $13,000 for this land, and if you think it's $150 a week of added income in terms of value added to my life, just for being surrounded by a wide variety of birds, well, shit, that's $600 a month times 12, $7,200 extra income per year. If you think about it like this, you're going to end up living a better life when you're able to take the money out of it and see the value in other things. And I hate to go shift gears so fast to crypto, but studying economics, studying alternative monetary systems gives you a frame of reference of value that's a lot more flexible than this rigid one that's imposed on us by modern society, by the fiat currency system, by all of the government schools. where they don't teach even within the current system and paradigm, they don't teach personal finance. They don't teach that kind of self-responsibility because they want you to be dependent. They want you to think, oh, you need banks to hold your money, you need the authorities. Where does money come from? Well, it comes from government. If it wasn't for government, we wouldn't have money. We'd all be running around like primitive idiots. Like, no. I mean, you see past those bullshit narratives, and it's not just that you become more aware. By the way, we talked. I did a really cool interview last night with the Biting the Bullet podcast. And two Marine veterans from Phoenix who might be coming up here this weekend are the hosts. Really excited about that. And they're libertarians and Marine Corps vets. Yeah, younger than they're both more than 10 years younger than me. And it's like, god damn it, really fuck me. My 782 gear was not chainmail, asshole. But no, it's actually we had a really weird epiphany because he was in artillery also. The M19, this is a serious sidebar to the sidebar to the sidebar, but the M1908 howitzers that I trained on and I used in the military. Now, when I deployed to Iraq, I was civil affairs, not artillery, but they were making fun of them internally with us. Like, man, these are basically the same things that we used during Vietnam. They're using them in Iraq, like currently, and they have the. I don't know if I shouldn't say that. The Marines I was talking to yesterday, these are still the current Marine Corps artillery hardware that is used on deployments. I don't know if they're in Iraq right now specifically, but that's some crazy shit. Like, can we just make this? It's you pick up 100-pound round with two Marines on either side of a tray, and you use your thumbs to hold it to keep it from rolling off the tray. You take the tray and you carry it over to the mouth of the cannon, and then another Marine comes with a plunger with a rubber tip, metal post with a rubber tip, and goes Wah! And rams that round with its brass ring ogive into the rifling in the tube, and it's wedged in. And then another Marine comes who's in charge of the powder, comes and takes the powder canister and puts it in behind it, and closes the door, and then puts his little primer cap in and shoves the mechanism over. Then you dial in the position, and then you attach a string, and you pull a string, and the gun goes boom. They're still using this shit. Anyway, so what was I talking about? Value, added income. So you think about coming out here and being able to see value for what it is. And the study of economics with, the sidebar, the thing I want to mention from the interview was that a lot of people who wake up to liberty, and everybody uses wake up to be, when you figure out what I know, when you figure out what's important to me, then you're woke. No, but there is a sort of, woke as libertarian, woke to the reality and the nature of government, woke to ethics and applying that to government consistently, woke to the depth of economic manipulation through fiat currency. And a lot of people get really pessimistic when they first start paying attention to that kind of stuff. And that's why it's always been so important in my message to include the empowerment side of it, because we were saying, or Typo, one of the co-hosts on Biting the Bullet, said that his theory is, when people wake up, they either go one of two ways. Either they're optimistic and they stay, engaged, or they're pessimistic and they get cynical. And if it's a lot of the government almost doesn't care if they know what you're doing or what they're doing. The government, as a criminal organization, does not care that they are a criminal organization doing criminal things all the time, as long as you consistently feel disempowered and incapable of doing anything about it. As long as you will passively accept it, as long as you take an attitude of resignation, they don't care. So including messages of empowerment and the practical applications of these understandings, to me, I would feel irresponsible to tell you guys, hey, shit's fucked up, and it's just fucked up. Oh, just wanted to point that out. Yep, shit's fucked up. Government sucks. The world's going to hell. War, police state, surveillance state, taxation state. That sucks. Do you have anything else to say? No, it just sucks. Really? No, be free then. Live free, live well, and embrace mental, psychological, emotional lifestyle freedom and live better as a result. And so to bring it back to this story and the $150 a week, don't worry, I tie this all together. One of those practical benefits is being able to understand that being surrounded by a wide variety of birds can offer increasing life satisfaction equivalent to $150 a week of added income. Does that make sense now? Okay. So, birds. Good news from Reason.com. A little political. We're doing too much political shit already for a Friday. Guns. CDC in surveys that never bothered making public provides more evidence that plenty of Americans innocently defend themselves with guns. And this is one of those things where, as a libertarian, we look at underlying principles. If something doesn't fall with gravity because it's a helium balloon, we don't go, well, it must be that the theory of gravity is wrong. No, it's that the air is heavier that's pushing it up. Gravity is still working, pushing a bubble out of, anyway. And it's the same thing looking at principles in politics. Like, we know that non-coercive relationships, consensual relationships, are going to be more conducive to human happiness. Like, this is sort of like something we know as like a scientific principle of libertarianism. And so what they've done here with this gun debate is like taking a baseball and throwing it up in the air and say, see, gravity doesn't work. Your theory of gravity is wrong. And it's like, well, that doesn't prove it wrong. Let's keep researching. Let's look at let's dig and let's get the facts. And in this case, they've been saying, hey, libertarians, your theory of gun ownership is wrong. That people being able to defend themselves. And by the way, I'm still anti-gun for the long run. I'm pro-gun rights, 100% libertarian across the board. I'm a big proponent of non-lethal weapons as a better way of preserving human life. Set phasers to stun as long as we're on a high-tech Good News Friday. So it's not that I want guns. It's not that I want people to have deadly force, but that I want people to be able to use it appropriately to defend themselves. And what that creates is a deterrent effect. And by suppressing this, so here's the thing, we go and we see the baseball going, and we go, is this gravity wrong, or is that baseball going to come down eventually? We've been doing that with the gun issue, and instead of just, relying on principle being enough to convince people, and it is for people who look to principles, we have data now to back it up. The sad thing is government has been hiding the data, and the data itself being released would have been, at least to some effect, a more positive deterrent of crime. But this is government just, we're the policemen. We're going to maintain our monopoly. So CDC surveys in the 1990s, never publicly reported, indicate nearly 2.5 million defensive uses of guns a year. That matches the results of Gary Kleck's controversial surveys, and it indicates more defensive than offensive uses of guns. So maybe controversial no more, vindicated, hopefully. So this is just great revelation. So if you want to look into this, if you're someone who likes to argue political positions like this from statistics, look into it, get the facts. But that's in there in the show notes exclusively at t.me/Adam versus the man. So this isn't going to sound like good news, this next one. But I think it's good news in terms of, again, I put it in the human optimization block, because the better our testicles work, the happier we will all be in general. I'm just saying, just across, if testicles don't work as well, overall, human beings will be less happy. I think it's pretty safe to say. So it's good news when I see a headline like this that might help us get to healthier testicles. Pollution blamed for rising number of boys born with testicles in wrong place. Landmark study shows. And this is a tragedy. This is not good news, right? But there have been so many cases in modern human history of pollution, of industrial pollution, being responsible for major widespread health problems, just to use an inclusive term here. And there has been a general effort to cover that up, right, by the powers that be that are making this kind of pollution possible. And this is the ultimate merging of corporations and the state. This photograph, this is a picture of fascism. Mussolini defined it as the merging of the corporation and the state. This is a corporation that the state is authorized to do something unethical, to destroy other people's property and health. This is not possible in capitalism. This is a product of corporatism. This is fascism. This is a photograph. Every picture like this, you can look at and say, this is what fascism looks like. So when I see the headline again, pollution blamed for rising number of boys born with, I'm going to giggle covering a story about testicles. Pollution could be behind the rising number of boys born with their testicles in the wrong place. A new study warns French researchers say babies born with undescended testicles that shot up by as much as 50%, especially in places with coal mines and metal works. Now, of course, I had to think undescended. Well, don't your testicles descend at puberty? No, that's not what they're talking about. Undescended testicles, also known as cryptorchidism, chidism, I don't know how you pronounce that, is the most common male genital defect affecting between 1% and 8% of newborns in the U.S. About 200,000 boys are born with the condition each year. In most cases, the organ corrects itself within 6 months of birth. Around 1 in 100 boys need surgery to move them into the right position. However, if left untreated, those with the condition may have fertility problems later in life and face a higher risk of testicular cancer. Yeah. So it's kind of like a canary in a coal mine, you know. Hey, are boys being born with their testicles shrunk up inside them more than normal? Might want to turn down the pollution. And it like, not disastrous. It's like, as it says, your testicles are so smart. The organ corrects itself within 6 months of birth. So maybe we can, well, here's the revelation. While certain chemicals have been linked to cryptorchidism, such as phthalates and pesticides, major industrial pollutants have been ignored until now. Quote from the study, our main findings are the increase in the frequency of operated cryptorchidism in France during the study period and the strong tendency for cases to cluster together in particular locations. This is the first time that such a finding has been documented in a country level for this birth defect. Now, the reason I also like human optimization, good news, this kind of shit is a long time coming. And because this has been out there, this is not like, hey, we just started polluting and we've been watching everybody's health around this area. And you know what? We're going to stop polluting. No, this is like we've been doing this for decades, and finally applying the technology of whatever communication is necessary to track diseases, like should be, I don't know, get the telephone, you can call, hey, over there, we got these many, this here, you can share data, right? And then you think in the age of the internet, how do we not have a better system? And man, I got to make this about COVID because holy shit, when Trump ordered the CDC, hey, do your deliberations in secret. And we saw that state governments were sequestering data and hiding data, not letting people coalesce that data to just see what's the most effective COVID treatment. Like how long, and then when they realized how bad they fucked up with the ventilators, just bury that, right? But being able to look at health data sets, I mean, can we just have an AI go into the internet and collect all the medical everything and just ask it to start pointing shit out to us? Because we're on the verge of like being able to do that, and it's going to be fucking embarrassing that we allowed government and regulations and all these other stupid, meaningless roadblocks to stop us from applying this technology of just being able to coalesce medical data. It's not a technology, it's communication. But the communication technology being so advanced now that we can look all over the world and see all of those clusters and like, really? We're just now figuring out that the reason your boys are being born with inverted testicles is because they're being born near power plants? Oh, no shit. We didn't have that decisively a long time ago. That should be pretty embarrassing. Axios with this next headline. Similar in technology being applied for accountability, Tinder to offer background checks on would-be dates. Well, I guess I can't use it anymore. I got a rap sheet a mile long of victimless crimes. I don't know if they take that off that, but one of the things that's important about this, these are good things, good application of technology in general. Problem is, what they're looking up criminal records. What's a criminal record? Government's opinion about you. And in my case, because I do political activism, government really doesn't like me. And of course, a lot of it is deliberate civil disobedience. I don't mean to sort of complain or play the victim here. But criminal record, you'd think they'd have to parse it out, right? So let's get into the story. Tinder, along with its parent company Match Group, is working with a nonprofit called Garbo to help customers find out if their potential dating partner has a criminal record. Why it matters, most people know very little about the person they've just met online. Garbo allows people to find out whether someone they interact with has a criminal record or other court actions such as a restraining order. Match Group expects to have Garbo service integrated into Tinder later this year, but many of the details have yet to be finalized. After that, Match hopes to make Garbo available within its other dating services. Match will make a significant seven-figure contribution to Garbo, enabling it to hire engineers and rapidly accelerate its national expansion. I mean, this is really exciting, actually. And one of the, I mean, to be able to do background checks, I think to make that more accessible, it's sort of like, why not? Why? Because we need government to have a special monopoly on understanding people, and the rest of us are just sort of lost. Fuck that. Now, one of the things that's exciting that I think is going to come out of this is that it's if someone's got a pot arrest on their record, do you care? Like, all of a sudden, the relevance of what is a crime and what isn't becomes really important to differentiate, right? If you're looking at a potential romantic partner and you go, well, hey, before we even go on our first date, I can find out if you're a violent rapist or a murderer or a thief or someone who's got a record of actual crimes. Smoking pot's not a crime. Not paying your taxes is not a crime. Telling the government to fuck off is not a crime. But what they put in these background checks, what they're actually going to use, and this is actually really important because it gives. Well, I mean, if someone is has committed a sexual assault in the past, and I mean, there's so many problems still with government deciding, is it a sexual assault, do we charge, whatever. Whereas government can protect people from getting away with sexual assault on a regular basis. But the director of this, the CEO of Garbo, brainchild of its CEO, Catherine Kosmides, I hope that's it, Kosmides, herself a survivor of sexual assault. She said the services reports include details of initial charges, as they often get watered down as part of a plea bargain. Yeah, government doesn't even care about getting the truth on the record in its justice system. They exclude, all right, look at this. This is awesome. So they're already ahead of me. They've already thought at least part of this through. They exclude drug possession and other charges that tend to be disproportionately enforced against marginalized groups. So now, I instead of saying, excluding drug possession because it's a victimless crime, but disproportionately enforced against marginalized groups, well, yeah, that's kind of how victimless crimes work. And as she says, our mission is trying to find the balance between protection and privacy. So I'm really excited about this. And if all of a sudden anybody who had committed a sexual assault, or I should say, actually committed, anybody who had actually committed a sexual assault and had that somehow on a legal record, if all of a sudden, in order to go on a date with them, you had to get them to plug into services, yeah, here's my record. Well, I mean, yeah, it's going to suck for them, as it should. But also, in the future, it's so much more important, it's the ultimate deterrent. Accountability. We're finally, as a species, learning what real accountability looks like. That's cool. Related story from MovieMaker.com. Netflix's The One. Is DNA-based dating a real thing? Netflix's new relationship drama series, The One, follows the founder of a fictional company that scientifically matches people with their perfect partner using DNA. Though the show is based on the book of the same name by John Mars and is completely fictional, you may be wondering whether DNA matching is possible in real life. The Netflix series follows Rebecca Webb, Hannah Ware, who, along with her business partner James Whiting, Dimitri Leonidas, discovers a way to match people with their one true soulmate using DNA. Webb's company, Match DNA, claims that all a person has to do is mail in a strand of their hair in order to be connected with someone they are genetically guaranteed to fall in love with. Obviously, there's limits to this, but the application, very exciting. All right, let's see what else. Okay, in our human optimization block, New York Post gives us this headline: could Elon Musk's Neuralink brain chips make us all as smart as he is? Elon Musk's brain isn't like most people's. When he isn't content with how something works, he reinvents it. Cars, rockets, and now cities. This week, he announced he's planning a new town in South Texas called Starbase. The idea is to take over the unincorporated seaside village of Boca Chica, a kind of mini Texan Cape Canaveral, some 355 miles from Austin, whereas SpaceX already has a massive rocket facility. It's all part of his mission to bring humans to Mars in this decade, even if this week one of the prototype Starship rockets went up in flames during a test flight, a not unexpected part of working out the kinks. Now, he's using his own superpower, his intellect, to give humans a chance to be as smart as he is. He may change our behavior. He may change our minds forever with Neuralink, which aims to use implanted brain chips to improve the human body and help us compete with AI. Then there are his other side hustles, like the Hyperloop transportation network, sort of like high-speed rail, but with pressurized capsules being designed by his Boring Company, or his Starlink satellite system. Very exciting to be able to follow Elon Musk, and that humanity has someone like him is incredible. And some of this stuff you might look at and say, well, that technology, stuff Adam's been talking about for years, it's inevitable. Someone still has to go do it. And what Musk has figured out, Musk's real genius is not the reinvention or the re-engineering. It's the organization. It's the bringing together of resources. And what he's managed to do is compete with the industries that have been holding back human progress by getting a lot of government money, getting a lot of independent investment, and being able to direct that investment towards innovation that creates exponentially greater value for humanity. And if the Neuralink, first get chips into brains, that is going to be a game changer. Speaking of re-engineering the human psyche in ways that robots won't be capable of for quite a while, Good News Network has this headline: one of the first publicly traded psychedelic wellness companies is mapping the mental health revolution. It took decades of cultural change mixed with legislative progress and increasing commercial viability to bring widespread use of cannabis and cannabis derivatives to the U.S. consumer. Following close on Mary Jane's heels are Lucy and Molly, is the overwhelming evidence for the use of psychedelics and psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy as a treatment for the worst sort of mental health disorders has some entrepreneurs bringing psychedelic companies to the stock exchange, despite the fact that only Oregon has legalized private possession of psilocybin mushrooms. With a background in business and marketing, Matt Stang, who is now founder and CEO of Delic Holdings, took over High Times magazine 18 years ago as part of a long journey at the forefront of the effort to legalize cannabis. Quote from Stang: after the overwhelming response in the United States to legalization in 2016 and 2020 elections, where cannabis has really kind of pushed through and tipped over to the point where there's no putting the genie back in the bottle, we started focusing on what we think are the next tipping points. Psychedelics. Buying a series of ketamine infusion treatment centers in California, Matt started Delic with his wife Jackie in the hopes of having a roadmap ready for when U.S. states inevitably begin to allow, at least medically, the use of these substances. Their centers, the company's principal assets, have been operating for 15 years, have generated $1.5 million in revenue, and conducted over 4,000 treatment courses. When we created 2 years ago, there was no such thing as a psychedelic corporation, so people thought we were a little crazy. We think similar pathways have been blazed for cannabis that will help psychedelics get through on a much quicker track. Yeah. I mean, there's so much more to this story. So, I'm just going to refer you to the notes on that. Definitely one worth checking it out. Couple high-tech human optimization stories real quick from Reuters. Hong Kong scientists develop retinal scan technology to identify early childhood autism. It'd be better if we could learn how to prevent it, but identifying, still a major step. Very cool application of technology. Hong Kong scientists has developed a method to use machine learning and artificial intelligence. Yeah. To scan retinas of children as young as 6 to detect early autism or the risk of autism, and hopes to develop a commercial product later this year. Related to this, from inews.co.uk, Alzheimer's disease. Scientific breakthrough paves the way for early tests years before symptoms appear. Currently, the disease can only be diagnosed by brain scans after a person has been showing symptoms such as memory loss. And if you've ever looked into Alzheimer's, my undergraduate degree is in psychology, and we studied some neuropsychology stuff as well. It is really scary to see just parts of the brain go dead over time. And it's, would you rather lose your brain slowly or, go out with a bang, or rather than, years of awkward whimpering in a severely mentally crippled state? It's that raises some tough questions. But of course, what this motivates us to do is instead optimize mental health, not just mental health as in the software that's running, but the hardware as well. And a lot of that is just, being healthy. Your brain is a very complex biological organ that needs nutrients to go into it. It needs stimulus into it to function. It's designed for you. We are, as humans, we are designed for our brains in order for them to function as an information processing center, to be able to take in nutrients through our tummies and have good food that nourishes our brains and our nervous systems. But then at the same time, we need the right, the stimulation, the environment. If you deprive your brain, it's not like your brain is a computer that you just feed. It's so much more than that. And appreciating that aspect of life itself, of what is a complex brain, makes you appreciate animals too, right? But that you have that complex thing that is you, in a sense, that at least encompasses your ability to process information. If you don't have enough birds around, right? If you're not exposed to a wide variety of birds, the human brain evolved around birds. Take the birds away, you're gonna have a bad time. At least maybe not that, but it's suboptimal. The human brain is an optimal operating environment that we are all it's struggling to create for itself. I mean, it's this crazy runaway feature of intelligent life, that this brain, eventually life creates intelligence, and intelligence seeks to recreate the environment, to create the perfect environment for itself that was born from that environment. And then we just start to understand and go, well, gee, some things it's like, yeah, just have more fucking birds around. Put out some bird seed and you'll be happier. And maybe that's a small, that's such a small thing in the context of talking about brain optimization. But you have to eat right to get the nutrients to your brain. You have to exercise to actually move the nutrients around your brain, circulation of the flow of all the juices in there, right? And then you have to take that, and that's just the start, because even for your hardware to function well, you have to give it the right data input. There's a weird thing that you start thinking about computers, and your brain doesn't quite hold up as the analogy here, because if you don't type on a computer for a year and then you fire it up and then you start typing, it's fine, right? Typing still works. Not quite true with your brain. If you think of it as, input, if you close your eyes for a year, it's been done. Plenty of experiments with this. You put a blindfold on for a year, or you're locked in a dark cave or a dungeon or jail cell, your brain atrophies. It's an adaptive biological phenomena that has to be respected and loved and nurtured as such. And that's just, hey, let me turn on this one little internal feedback loop in your brain that says, hey, I'm a brain. I should love being a brain. This is fucking awesome. And, oh yeah, hey, see, yeah, it's hard to get away from that once you get that, positivity really built into your software, and then it reinforces all of your hardware maintenance as well. So they have the technology now for a test for Alzheimer's, and this is not the most interesting thing for me in terms of the brain and technology, but the prevention stuff and the application of this to optimize the human experience, that's really cool. So, but scientists at the University of Manchester have used cutting-edge nanotech to discover previously unseen blood biomarkers that they say could one day be used to carry out tests. So still very, very preliminary. Now, in our human optimization, we have two history stories that I didn't know where else to include, but a bunch of people have been sending me this one. Dead Sea Scrolls discoveries, our first ancient Bible text to be found in 60 years, from NBC News. I mean, this is crazy. You think of, like, we're about to put a colony on Mars, and we haven't even finished digging all the old documents out of the attic. Like, and I don't know, I'm thinking, like, for my own life, like, I got a shipping container with a mess of boxes of paperwork and old shit, and some of it's like important mementos that I want, but do I really care? It's not digital. If I could burn it all, No, I got my Iraq War mementos in there. It's like my own little historical archive. I think about, like, I try to personify the human experience as a whole for the whole global human family. We're about to colonize Mars, and we're still figuring out stuff about our own history. And the thing is, it's not just figuring out. A lot of it has been obscured. I'm a fan of historical revisionism, because oftentimes the first draft of history that we come up with is not the most accurate, or is often deliberately misrepresented by the powers that be to manipulate the narrative, to manipulate society, to serve their interests, obviously. So a new set of Dead Sea Scrolls, with that sidebar out of the way, a new set of Dead Sea Scrolls, ancient fragments of biblical texts dating back almost 2,000 years and thought to have been hidden during a Jewish revolt against Rome, have been found in the West Bank. The Israel Antiquities Authority announced Tuesday that a 4-year archaeological project uncovered portions of the book of the 12 minor prophets, including the books of Zechariah and Nahum. It was the first such discovery in 60 years. Also uncovered was a 6,000-year-old skeleton of a partially mummified child in a 10,500-year-old basket, which Israeli authorities said could be the oldest in the world. A CT scan revealed the child's age was between 6 and 12, with the skin, tendons, and even hair partially preserved. Now, one of the cool things about, like, I'm not like, oh, this historical whatever is the be all end all. Yeah, okay, whatever. No, but what's cool about this, like, in the bigger good news, is that there's more to be discovered, and it's about to explode. Not just because humans are everywhere and we're able to figure out so much more and find so much more with conventional means, but I mean, metal detectors. Think about this. Just existing technology. We have metal detectors, right? Pretty good ones. We could soup one up. I mean, we could skim the ground. When you skim the ground, see where there's metal. And drones. Put one of those on a drone, have a computer program guide it in a grid, and instead of you walking around with a little metal detector, you just drone map that area, and and then eventually those metal detectors are going to be able to separate, and to some degree they already can, right, what kind of metals they're looking at. Eventually you're going to have echolocation devices built in that are going to be so good they're going to be able to identify every human skeleton under the surface of the earth. I mean, little tech fantasy of mine, but not really that far-fetched. Even just as an application of current technology, I think that we could cover the Earth with metal detectors and maybe thermal scanners and some kind of echolocation device to be able to see pockets and identify variations in density in the dirt underneath us, and be able to determine, where there's a human body that's 6,000 years old that we just forgot about, graveyard just got, but whatever, covered up. Who knows? There is going to be. I mean, if me sitting here is just, some random dude on the internet coming up with cool ideas, can think of this. I guarantee you, there are engineers, there are archaeologists already working on stuff that's going to make my ideas seem, like primitive. So, birds or drones made by the government. Thank you, Mickey Fox. Yes, I think we've been over that. MyModernMet.com. This is just a fun site, also historical story. Professor cooks 3,770-year-old recipes from Mesopotamia and shares surprising results. So I don't think it's like more that I need to cover of this story, but if you want to look into this, check it out. This is really cool. And again, links in the notes, t.me/Adam versus the man. I'm going to be looking at, I just got this story. I didn't get to read it all myself, but I'm actually going to read this and look into it and go like, oh, can we cook some of that here in Gardenia and, get back to our Mesopotamian roots, so to speak. So with that, that is our human optimization block. Yay, go team people. Let's bring Fina back up here, our co-host for Fina Friday. I think she's got everything figured out. I see a lot of comments scrolling. I love it. How's it going?
Aloha. And gosh, I'm back. I got to do the comments right this time. So what was our contest about today? I know there usually is a contest about like who's got the best comment. And
it's up to you.
Okay, so this is my first
day to give away a membership to the Producers Club.
All right, so this is my first Friday, and I've really appreciated everyone that's been posting the emojis and whatnot and just keeping it really happy and positive. And so I want to find like the most positive vibes kind of comments. Okay, so the first one from Road Trip Eddie was, let me go for that one real quick. Talking about the hummingbirds are coming to New Mexico. I know we talked about birds a lot, but it was just cute. Let's see, where'd you go? That's where we talked about math. Where did I have it? Oh, here we go. Oh no, that's not it. But hey, look, it's him sending positive vibes. Let's see, where the fuck is the other one?
The birds are coming.
There we go. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, that was really nice. There was some people asking about other guests to come on the show that have not come on the show. So I don't want to throw that out there, but just general questions.
What are the guest requests?
So do we have some upcoming events for anyone to look forward to in the future?
Well, why don't you tell me what the guest requests are?
Well, one was for Joe Rogan, and then I think you were starting to get a little bit. Then I think you were starting to get a little bit trolled, but that's okay. By the way,
no, that's actually something we're seriously pursuing. I'm going to take this opportunity to say, if you haven't watched our Joe Rogan video, which is a clip we pulled out from a show last week, because Joe Rogan admitted on his show that Spotify censored those episodes, including mine, where I was interviewed on his podcast. It's kind of a weird thing for Joe to interview me and then not let me interview him for, I did 3 hours with him. He's not going to come on my show for 10 minutes if he wants. It'd be awesome. But the thing is, I don't think he will now, because by admitting that, he also admitted to lying. I don't want to you lie. Well, yeah, a lie is you deliberately say something that you know is untrue to convince someone else of something that is untrue, right? That's a lie. That's the functional definition that I use. Joe Rogan lied. That doesn't necessarily make it a condemnable offense, right? You can lie in a situation where it's I don't want to say white lie is always innocent, but a lie to defend privacy, right? Or a lie to defend against a cop trying to invade your privacy, or a lie that you're committing under duress or under some other circumstances. But that was a pretty big revelation, and there are a lot of, apparently Joe Rogan is not doing so well on Spotify because of these missteps. He got his $100 million contract, but who knows how that's going to go for him at this point. And we've reached out. Our guest booker Marcus Pulis has reached out to Joe Rogan's team a number of times, so they've got the official invite. but maybe some public pressure, some attention would convince Joe to have that conversation. All right, what's our super chat?
Adam and the lady. I guess I'm the lady. To understand, we already live in anarchy. It is just that all the spots are already taken and they're willing to kill for them. That's some deep shit. That's some deep shit.
I like the mind-bending rhetorical analysis there. That we already live in a state of anarchy, but then anarchy, in order to say no rulers, that you live in a state where a society exists without people trying to rule over each other, there has to be respect for property rights. And in order for that statement to be true, you have to say that the existing concept of ownership by governments of everything in their territory is correct, and that we live in anarchy and we lie about you owning stuff, whereas really you just own yourself, and government owns all the land, but it's an illegitimate. See, I don't think it's true. I don't think that holds up. It is a cool mind-bending, comment and perspective to analyze things. To say we all live in anarchy. I think there are better ways of saying that or making that point than saying the spots are all taken and everybody's willing to kill for them, because there's a lot that are not taken, and there's this whole other layer of bullshit of like, well, you own that land and you own your house, or the bank owns this, but no, really, government has this supra ownership over everything as the sovereign authority there.
I guess I have a question about the statement, because that's what it is. It's not a question, it's just a statement. And I want to know who they are. I mean, it says okay, so we, as in me, you, Adam, because it's directed to you as well, and the person that's just saying this, Akis. Am I saying that right? Akis? I hope so. Anyways, but who is they? So if is everybody else? Are we down to an us versus them?
No. Okay, so hold on. My interpretation of they in this statement that I was using for what I said earlier is based on when it says all the spots are already taken. Mm-hmm. So it's the people, so it's governments. They're willing to kill for them, as in governments own everything. They are the owners. They are the sovereigns. We as humans within this, we own ourselves. They convince us that, we own sub stuff in their territory. But you could say, like, and this is where, as an analytical perspective, it has more validity when you recognize, okay, well, we live in anarchy. It's just that the people who own land lie to you as their citizens, and it's governments own the land. They're willing to kill to defend their territory, and you are just, like, born into someone else's property and lied to about, given this illusion of freedom and autonomy. So, but the idea of, like, it's already anarchy, it's already no rulers. It's a fun analysis, but I don't think it's helpful. I don't think it's empowering. I don't think it gives us a better understanding, except when you're amongst a bunch of libertarian nerds who like doing thought exercises like that and debate about definitions and where commas should go in your state bylaws for 3 hours.
Yeah. So I wanted to say too, before we move on, hello, people, that government officials or Secret Service officials that were talking or listening to my people on Hawaii. Meet Adam's people. I'm sure you guys talk now. We're making friends today.
Yeah.
And I'm super friendly sometimes, unless you listen.
When worlds collide and FBI surveillance teams have to work together.
It's about unity. It's about friendships. It's better together. Yay.
Well, I hope it's like we're an hour and 14 into this show. I assume that if my tax dollars are going to defend this criminal organization that is stealing them from me, it would be very appropriate for them to use them to make sure that someone's keeping an eye on that motherfucker. There better be a government. If, as a taxpayer, I demand that you have at least one FBI agent listening to every episode of Adam versus the Man from start to finish.
It's dedication. It's dedication. All right, let me keep on going with these comments. Okay, so I I wrote down healthy disrespect for authority for something. I think he said something good. I don't remember. This is my first day, guys. I'm sorry. It's like I'm waiting tables. It's my first day. I brought you a Sprite instead of a Pepsi, and sorry.
Healthy disrespect is a lot of good things.
Okay, and then Moose Girl 08, always nice and smiley faces. So shout out to, like, again, what I said, all the emojis, nice, happy feeling and vibes. Celebrating conservatism, also talked about how about all these times just open carrying has deterred crimes, which is cool. And I want to say, I don't think this person is in the Producers Club. So now I'm down to like.
Hold on. I want to respond to that comment from, what was it, celebrating conservatism on the firearms issue? Because that's a really great point. We are so far behind. I use the analogy of like like libertarian principles of being able to defend yourself makes for a better society. Is the comparison to the law of gravity, right? And like they throw the baseball up and say, see, gravity doesn't work. And then we have to go, well, no, it's coming down. Gravity works. Well, the equivalent of that with these principles of self-defense are that, well, they've been telling us that our principles don't work because no one defends themselves with, oh, no, here are the real numbers. And there's so many, the government numbers about self-defense incidents are so much less significant than the broader deterrent effect. And I'm really glad he pointed that out. Because yes, I used to open carry, and my pepper spray broke, my nice pink one. I had a nice pink pepper spray. I need to order a new one. I had like a keychain pepper spray, and I carry my keys like on my belt loop here with a little clip when I'm out. I mean, here in Gardenia, I don't know if I should say this publicly, but I don't lock my car doors. Like the keys are, in the console. Like, you need to move my car, go move my truck. I don't care. Don't touch my truck. But no, when I have my keys clipped on my belt loop, I used to have like that pink pepper spray there all the time. And man, you don't know how many murders I prevented by walking around with that pepper spray on my hip. Someone was like, I'm going to kill you. Oh, never mind. That dude's got pepper spray. No, but there is a significant deterrent effect of that becoming a thing. And it's, like here in Ashford, in the town near where I live, when I see someone open carrying, I usually, as casually as I can, thank them for that, because it is an effort. Carrying pepper spray is a lot easier, and there's no excuse. Everybody should have pepper spray or a taser or something like that on them at all times. There's really no. Yeah, I give people pepper spray pens as gifts. It's a size of a pen. It's like that big around. You pop the cap off, and it's pepper spray. There's no excuse to not carry that and have that as your contribution to security in your area, even for other people. And I am grateful that even as a felon who's not allowed to carry a firearm, that there are plenty of people around here who are and take that responsibility for me.
Cool. So up on your screen, I don't think this person's in the Producers Club. If someone of you guys maybe know better than me, but it was full of good vibes. It's good vibes, good day, good vibes from the land down under Australia. And I was like, I'm there for it. I love it. Okay, so G Dog E, hello, welcome to the Producers Club if you're not there already.
Awesome. Yes, more international perspective in the Producers Club. I love it.
So I want to take a note. I was listening to your good news, right? And you were talking about going to Mars, right? And I like talking about aliens sometimes. I think I've talked about aliens at least. I think I've talked about like aliens even the first time you interviewed me on this show, and so.
I'm running for office as a libertarian, and if elected, I promise you, we will be talking to aliens within 6 months. I think that's your position.
All right, so my question is kind of like a thought, what if question or whatever. Is it necessary for us, human as species, human society, is it necessary for us to catalog all of human history here on Earth before we will be able to leave Earth? Because, Earth is finite. The sun will one day die. And I like to think that life continues on no matter what, and especially our species. It's part of like one of the things that humans first that I'm doing. And so I'm just kind of wondering, is it these Dead Sea Scrolls and these things that we're digging up and holding on to, is that what's keeping us here on Earth and not allowing us to access the full possibilities and potentials within us as a species to live beyond our planet?
Is it holding us back from that? I'm sorry, I missed the
Well,
part.
when
that
I
was
was
the
thinking
question.
about it, right, I was thinking about hieroglyphics and things like, ancient aliens or whatever. And what if that was their way to like, do you hear that? Okay, that was weird. The aliens, whatever.
Oh, okay. You're hearing shit now too, huh?
Oh, okay. So,
The aliens are in your brain. You need to put aluminum foil over your head so the aliens can't get in your brain.
no, they're there. We're friends. It's cool. So, anyways, but the hieroglyphics, and we're still trying to decipher all this old stuff that's here on Earth. What if, all right, ancient alien theory here, right? What if like all that accumulation of knowledge is from a previous planet or something they brought with them and had to tell the story of like their old planet or something? Are we going to do that as a species to another planet? Are we going to build pyramids with like, telling the story of Adam, for instance, and have it like on a little thumb drive? And here's the story of Adam, all the Adam versus the man shows. And like that is a piece of history. Everything that we create and we save as something that can be seen like later, like super future from now, is history, is part of history. And anyways, I was just kind of wondering, is it gonna be necessary for us as a species to catalog all of our lives before we can like move on?
Oh, well, so you mean like in a emotionally satisfying sense? Are we going to be comfortable moving on to another planet until we understand the story, before we understand the story of Earth? Plenty of us will. There are plenty of people who just don't give a fuck about history at all and will get on the first rocket to Mars like it's no big deal. I think they're already screening people for that, right? At least with that fake reality show.
All right, I got to pull another one up because
yeah, well, okay, go. We got another super chat. All right.
Yeah. Do you realize that Hungover and Saw are the same movie except one is funny and one is scary?
I have not seen either. I'm sorry.
I've seen both of them. Are they talking about
boycotting Hollywood for a decade?
Are they talking about The Hangover, or is there another movie called Hungover? Because I know I've seen The Hangover, and I've seen Saw. I've seen all the Saw movies, but I don't know if Hungover is like a typo, which, it seems like the morning for typos from my experience. But that's a little joke for a little production joke. But Saw and The Hangover, if it was The Hangover, then I can see some parallels there. I can definitely see some parallels because it's about the journey of trying to like go back in time of what just happened. And yeah.
So about your question, now that I'm ready to answer it, I'm not inclined to believe any of the ancient aliens theories, and I'm gonna have to do my George Tsoukalos impersonation here because I do have the hair that does this just like automatically. Pretty cool. Yeah.
Don't do that.
Aliens. Not aliens. I'm not saying aliens, but aliens. Not bad, right? I guess I need to shave to make it really look right. But yeah, The Hangover. Yeah, okay, cool. There we go with Galifianakis. No, haven't seen it. But the ancient aliens theory, like about the pyramids, I have a hard time thinking that or believing that something generations ago came from a civilization that was so advanced and high tech as to be alien and able to come from another planet, and then they lost that ability or lost the ability to communicate. I'm sure there's some like, well, that's accounted for with this other theory. I'm sure there are a lot of people who have addressed this, but that's still, one of my main points of skepticism. I am still very excited about probing human history to see how technology advanced and then fell back, because clearly that happened. We have clear evidence of societies that had technologies advanced for their time that then disappeared. And Egypt and the pyramids and the construction and some of these, yeah, great examples. But to jump to aliens, nah, not feeling that.
Okay. Well, so I can totally get where you're saying of like, so what you're saying is that you think that the human species, our society, is actually older than what we have officially documented, and that
No.
there have been societies that have reset their intelligence or reset their knowledge.
No. It's just that, like, for example, in if in ancient Egypt, they progressed to the point where, you know, they were able to build the pyramids and everything else that still is not fully understood today. Although a lot more so now. You know, they discovered, I think we covered this on the show a few months ago, that they discovered a city that had been buried next to the pyramids that was like a workers' camp. And it explains some of the ways that they moved these huge stones, right? So it's almost like intellectual. To me, it strikes me as not only an indulgence in a weird fantasy, but also intellectually lazy to say, well, we can't explain it, so aliens, you know. But one of the things that we take for granted today is that when someone invents something, everyone in the world knows about it or could know about it effectively right away. Whereas in the ancient world, huh?
Well, I was thinking when you were saying everyone knows about it, right? So what if,
that
for
was the
instance,
aliens, right?
yeah, the alien. Well, I mean, you said everyone knows about an invention, right? When something's invented that, sorry if you can't, my cats are playing with little toys. I'm sorry.
See, I thought it was aliens. It was just your cats.
Yeah, earlier they were about to take the back curtain off too, and I was like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing, my first show. And anyway, so you were saying about what the fuck were you saying? Anyways, let me hit this bowl again.
Okay, so to the intellectual laziness of like, well, anyway, my point is that in the era of the printing press on, there was a sort of global human body of scientific knowledge and technology, and technology spread. Once you had ships that could cover the world, I think once you had ships that could cover the world, it was much less common for a society to be able to flourish and exist and develop cutting edge technology and not have the rest of the world know about it, and thus to be able to lose it. So simply in the ebb and flow of societies with war and you know, cities coming and going and empires moving around, and Genghis Khan type empires, that it was much more possible for technologies to be developed and then lost in not just a technology or an idea or a machine, but everything the Egyptians did, you know, somehow then, you know, lost and cut off. But you know, the idea that you know, the Marvel comic universe, there's one movie that starts right where they've got ancient Egypt and it's alien mutants or something that are there and running the show, and that's how the technology is there, and that's their, you know, fantasy explanation. No, I mean, reality, what we know to be real and can stick with as real is so fucking mind-blowing already. Do we really have to make shit up? You know, like, there's my other, you know, inclination against this sort of line of thought. But we are behind on the news, on the good news today. We still got a huge pile of headlines. So let's get into our next block. All right, Maria says, there are ones found on 2017. Reality changed in front of my eyes, kind of too much to explain. Yeah, no kidding, kind of too much to explain, chat. Things will change again after this new finding, I'm sure. Well, we'll see. But like I said, I'm more inclined to figure out and learn from how things have come and gone and been lost over the course of human history than fill in the gaps with aliens. But we have alien stories today. All right, so tech optimization, now that we're an hour and a half into the show. Tesla on autopilot drives into patrol car in Michigan, police say. Yeah, and this is good news because the machines that we're programming them to be able to do what we always. How many times have you seen a cop on the street doing some shit and been like, man, if I could just, yeah. Well, now we have the Tesla crash in Michigan achieving our fantasies for us. GoodNewsNetwork.org, Good Samaritan saves farmer's pig, calls 911 after joining live stream and seeing barn on fire. Yeah, not really much of a big story, not so much more to get into really than the headline there. But in tech optimization, just again, we talk about the surveillance state being a bad thing, but a state of surveillance and being able to keep people accountable and watch things, and eventually AI on security cameras, making sure that we stay safe all the time. I mean, and our pigs don't die in barn fires. Pretty cool. Men's Health, of all places, has this headline: Your poop could power planes. Scientists say that's right. Scientists have developed a new chemical way to turn wet waste, it's a nice term for black water, into paraffin with black water, which is a nice term for sewage, which is a nice term for shit that comes out of your toilet. Scientists have discovered a new chemical way to turn wet waste into paraffin, a combustible jet fuel ingredient. Airplanes contribute to 2.5% of global greenhouse emissions, while food waste, 6%. The new fuel blend could reduce airline emissions to 0 and beyond. Just one more alternative fuel being developed. I think we got another story coming up on that. But first, this is from goodnewsnetwork.org, world's first 3D printed school poised to be built in Madagascar, half the price of traditional. Really cool drawing, really cool potential here. And where we're going with alternative construction is just we're gonna have. I mean, if you looked at what our ancestors lived in a state of nature of caves and huts, they'd look at what we live in today and be like, "Holy shit, you guys are amazing! You're fucking wizards. You have everything you could possibly want in buildings." Well, and you come here and you go, "Well, we have a housing crisis, and most of us are unhappy and want to build more things." I should say unhappy with our living spaces one way or another. But imagine the idea of a house being, well, you buy land and then you bring a machine and you just tell it to build a house, whatever you want. Like, how many square feet? Well, how much land do you have? And you build the whole thing if you want. We're about to come to that sort of superfluous wealth of building. Pretty cool. Related to that, Good News Network also has this headline: 12 countries have built roads out of plastic, and they can perform as well or better than asphalt. Yep. A road running through Accra, Ghana's capital, looks like any other blacktop, yet what most drivers don't realize is that the asphalt under them contains a slurry of used plastics, shredded and melted bags, bottles, and snack wraps that otherwise were destined for a landfill. Now, yesterday I mentioned another one of my sort of tech fantasies that actually people are working on with the trash islands in the oceans. If you don't know, look it up. But there are garbage islands in the oceans that are just tons and tons and tons of discarded plastic. And getting those cleaned up is not just an environmental imperative for preserving the value of the ocean as a natural resource and respecting it as a place where a lot of amazing animals live, but it's an opportunity to reclaim all that plastic waste and process it. And I said into Bitcoin, right? And it's true. There are people working on taking that and turning it into electricity in this, mining Bitcoin, creating the Bitcoin, being a part of the Bitcoin blockchain maintenance network that gives the whole thing its value and functionality. But hey, maybe we just scoop all that shit up and turn it into more roads. Speaking of reclaiming from the ocean, MSN from Daily Mail has this headline: underwater Roombas. That's in quotes, not literally Roombas, but things that work like Roombas. Robots that discs that scan the ground. Underwater Roombas are searching oceans for toxic chemical barrels. Ocean scientists are using robot submarines to detect barrels of toxic chemicals under the sea. Thousands of barrels of DDT and other substances are believed submerged in the Pacific Ocean near Los Angeles, but authorities aren't sure where or how many. It's fucking nuts that we let it get to this point. But when I say, like I did yesterday in the show, talking about turning the trash oceans into Bitcoin, I'm fairly confident that we will innovate our way out of these major problems with pollution but there are still some things that we lose in value and quality of life when we let this happen to the oceans, that it's like, yeah, you're never going to get that back. So in tech optimization or tech innovation, we also have an exploration story that's kind of bordering on both sections here. What a difference 400 years makes. This is from Daily Mail. AI, first one you read it is Al Mayflower. No, AI Mayflower will make groundbreaking crewless, as in no people aboard, crossing of Atlantic next month, powered by solar energy. Craft will chart same 3,000-mile route taken by ship that brought 102 pilgrims to America in 1620. The Mayflower autonomous ship, MAS, will depart from Plymouth, England, April 19. MAS will take the same route as the original ship to Massachusetts back in 1620. It has no human captain or crew, so we'll use AI and automation to cross the ocean. It's almost like embarrassing that, I mean, this is a really, I don't say embarrassing, like this is a really cool tech exercise for a lot of reasons, but that like we don't have, like it's not like the AI, I mean, I'm sorry, sometimes when I see I because I follow the news and I follow the good news and I follow the tech optimization, one of the things that's really frustrating about that is seeing from when humans realize that they're capable of something and when they convince government to let them do it, sometimes represents a huge gap that really holds us back. That is a huge loss of potential value, and it's frustrating. And you look at the FDA, I often reference the work of Dr. Mary Ruwart, who, through statistical analysis, showed that the FDA was responsible for tens of millions of deaths just in its manipulation of the prescription drug market by preventing life-saving drugs from being on the market and keeping and putting drugs on the market that killed people. But you think about it, it's like you're about to, this was a big thing with the AIDS epidemic, remember? Oh, well, we're about to die. Why are you making it illegal for me to do this drug? For my safety? Fuck you. Like, yeah, there's some harsh reality that was exposed there. But I see that not just happening in the pharmaceutical industry, and that's where you can count the cost in lives. Like, people died because we trusted government to tell us what drugs were safe. And surprise, surprise, as a lot of us would have been able to say, I told you so. Yeah. Anyway, more good news. Metro, hyper-realistic skin for humanoid robots is being sculpted in Russia. Creepy, creepy shit. But yeah, we're there. By the time we have AI robots, they're going to look like people. You're from a distance, you probably won't be able to tell them apart. This is like, scroll through these pictures, Jim. Yeah, there you go. Get these full screen. An employee adjusts eyelashes on the face of a humanoid robot developed by Promobot. Yeah, they're at that level of detail. One of the captions here: if this isn't the stuff of nightmares, we're not sure what is. But yeah, they're about to be able. I mean, I'm sure this is the company behind this is going, why did they have to use all the creepy pictures of the things half assembled? Why didn't they show the finished product looking cool and nice and loving and like someone you would want to have, sitting next to you on the couch? Well, this is robot technology, humanoid, everything. Yeah, going some scary places. Yeah, get some fake eyeballs up on screen there, Jim. All right, to Bloomberg. In terms of immediate tech optimizing human health, this headline is pretty encouraging. Google's Nest adds sleep tracking in new health tech foray. Google's Nest is expanding to health technology with a feature that tracks sleep patterns, offering a potential new revenue stream, but also raising privacy concerns. So, like, I'm not excited that Google is doing this because, yeah, it's scary to think that Google is going to have that much more data on you. But that we're capable of applying it this way. I want the app that's not connected to Google to do the same thing. Science Advances from advances.sciencemag.org is this headline. A couple people sent me this two kind of interesting different ways. The headline is Enhanced Mechanical Energy Conversion with Selectively decayed wood. Yeah, what does that mean? Abstract. Producing electricity from renewable sources and reducing its consumption by buildings are necessary to meet energy and climate change challenges. Wood is an excellent green building material, and owing to its piezoelectric behavior, could enable direct conversion of mechanical energy into electricity. Although this phenomenon has been discovered decades ago, its exploitation as an energy source has been impaired by ultra-low piezoelectric output of native wood. Here we demonstrate by enhancing the elastic compressibility of balsa wood through a facile, green, sustainable fungal decay pretreatment. The piezoelectric output is increased over 55 times. Isn't that crazy? So they figured out a way to put a fungus on wood and make it generate electricity. A single cube, 15 millimeters by 15 millimeters by 13.2 millimeters of decayed wood is able to produce a maximum voltage of 0.87 volts and a current of 13.3 nanoamps under 45 kilo. I don't know what that is. This study is a fundamental step to develop next generation self-powered green building materials for future energy supply and mitigation of climate change. Now, I don't know, is this going to compete with solar, with wind, with other renewable energy? We're going to be let's add some fungus to the wood and get some electricity out of it. I don't know, but it is cool to see that that's being pushed through. All right, now we have exploration, aliens, and understanding nature, and only 20 minutes to go. We're going to do exploration really quick and then get back to Fina and the audience. Good News Network has this. Look for these celestial wonders in the night sky through the rest of March. We're halfway through the month of March, and though the days are getting longer, these crisp, clear nights are still a perfect time for stargazing, and especially out here in Gardenia. Gosh, I need to do some more night photography. So Ursa Major springs up, the Great Bear. Now that it's springtime, the iconic asterism of 7 bright stars has sprung back up from its low position to appear high in the northeast sky. All this to say, the Big Dipper is back. The Moon and Mars have a meetup. Yeah, they were Friday evening. That's tonight. You'll have a very close conjunction with Mars and the Moon, just above the Taurus star. Anyway, and then let's see what else. Oh, and then a super moon, super worm moon glitters full and bright, also called the Crow Moon, the Sugar Moon, the Wind Strong Moon, and the Sat Moon. Watch the super worm moon rise on March 28th. Why do we call it worm moon? It's really there. Anyway, when it's low on the horizon, it'll be a brilliant, rich orange, very, very large. As the super moon climbs further and farther in the sky to lose its orange hue and outsized appearance. All that to say, make sure to look up around dusk and enjoy the view. So links in the notes. Again, t.me/Adam versus Man if you want to mark your calendar for any of those details. BigThink.com. The universe is expanding faster than estimated, finds a new study. The controversy over the universe's expansion rate continues with a new, faster estimate. If you're a super geek, you can get into that and the links, obviously. InterestingEngineering.com confirmed Antarctica was struck with a powerful hunk of antimatter. Yeah. Whoa, we're understanding that. Back in 2016, an antineutrino collided with an electron somewhere in the ice of Antarctica at nearly the speed of light. It took 5 years for scientists to confirm the event using the most remote particle detector on Earth, the Buried Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory. That's a thing. Now the researchers are saying that the particle collision shower provided evidence of a long suspected but never before proven or seen event known as Glashow resonance. The event is named after the physicist Sheldon Lee Glashow, who in 1960 predicted that when high-energy antineutrino collided with an electron, it would produce a short-lived particle known as a W boson. Yeah. Crazy shit you want to get into. From goodnewsnetwork.org, a little more fun, easy to understand story. Meteorite that could hold secrets of solar system hits family's driveway. They thought it was charcoal from the grill. Yeah. And this is such a cool picture of them just like pointing out this spot like, oh yeah, An English family's been astounded to find themselves at the center of a major scientific discovery that's had scientists weak at the knees as their driveway has been hit by the most valuable space rock ever to fall on Britain in late February. Now, ever to fall on Britain? No, ever to fall on Britain where humans noticed it. In late February, in the home she shares with her mom and dad, Hannah Wilcock heard a dull thumping noise outside her window. She looked out to see where the sound was coming from, but it was dark, couldn't see what it is. Her first guess, someone driving around throwing lumps of coal in people's driveway. Yeah, that's a thing. Brits are weird. She went and spoke to her mom, Catherine. Given the recent mild weather, they decided maybe a disposable charcoal grill had been dumped. Of course, it was neither of these things. So how did they figure it out? So Open University planetary scientist Richard Greenwood looked at the Wilcox picture of what had landed outside their front door. He was blown away and soon dispatched to take a look. Apparently, it was, in fact, a carbonaceous chondrite, a dark, stony material that retains unadulterated chemistry from the formation of our solar system 4.6 billion years ago. From popularmechanics.com, human-safe wormholes could exist in the real world, study finds. Yeah, well, I'll believe it when you can send someone through it. From sciencealert.com, scientists reveal how many interstellar objects may be visiting our solar system. Quite a lot, actually. And that will get us to our alien life when we talk about Oumuamua, which, according to this story, set off in 2017 a revolution in astronomy and the study of celestial objects. Not only was it an object that had formed in another star system, but its arrival and detection employed a large population of such objects. So BGR from MSN.com, where did these new bacteria come from and why are they on the International Space Station? Yeah, we'll have to see about that. Not getting too deep into that story, but yeah, if you want to talk about space bacteria, it's there. Time on MSM.com gives us, it's Time magazine. Mars has much more water than previously known, but there's a catch. Yeah, of course, it's all frozen and inaccessible. But even more, yeah, there's really cool that we are understanding Mars because Elon Musk is about to go there. Yeah, CNET, also MSN.com. Elon Musk wants to send a Starship to orbit as soon as July. SpaceX is targeting July to take its next big step on the path towards Mars. That's when Elon Musk says he hopes to launch a Starship prototype that includes the full stack of the main spacecraft right atop the company's new super heavy rocket booster. Yeah. Now to understanding alien life. Critical update. Let's talk about UFOs. You know what? I've had this story up for a while. I don't think we're going to have time to get into this today, but I will introduce it and let you know that you can look through it in the links. NextGov Axum X. All right, we need a break. Time to bring Fina up here, right? But yeah, fun stuff in the notes about UFOs. And finally, to end this whole thing about Oumuamua, this is it, because this chunk of rock was detected flying through our solar system, and a lot of people sort of freaked out trying to say it was aliens. I'm not saying it's aliens, but you know, aliens. So Science Alert has this story: origins of mysterious interstellar visitor Oumuamua may finally be explained. Yeah, shocking. It wasn't aliens. But this is the object called Oumuamua, a Hawaiian name meaning scout or messenger, traveled on a trajectory that strongly suggested it came from another star system. That made it the first interstellar object ever detected. But what was it? A few researchers, including Harvard University astronomer Avi Loeb, posited the object was an alien spacecraft. Others suggested it was an asteroid or perhaps an interstellar comet. Now, a pair of papers published in an American Geophysical Union journal offers another theory that Oumuamua was shrapnel from a tiny planet in a different solar system. As they said, we've probably resolved the mystery of what Oumuamua is, and we can reasonably identify it as a chunk of an exopluto, a Pluto-like planet in another solar system. So, yeah, Yeah, there you go. You thought it was aliens. It was not aliens. Let's get our co-host Fina Bonoan back up on stage here for Fina Friday. Before we get to our last block of good news, understanding nature, Fina. Oh, change of scene. Now you look like you're actually in Hawaii.
Yeah. Well, it was the sun's rising. It's now almost 7:00 in the morning. So, anyways, you guys in the chat are hilarious. I don't even know what you guys are talking about, half of it, because it's like y'all have your own conversation, and I love it. I love the dialogue that you guys are having. So you did have a super chat. Let me go back to it really quick. Another one from Akis. What do you say is a bigger part of Trump's presidential legacy? Meeting with Kim Jong-un, or being the only president stunned by Stone Cold Steve Austin?
I will say that meeting with Kim Jong-un, how much does Trump deserve personal credit for it? I don't know. But I'm happy to say that was awesome. As a fan of peace and global connectivity and awareness and appreciation of this being the one human family, hell yeah. Good for Trump. Or at least something good to come out of the Trump administration. What's his? I'm trying to should I turn this into a serious question or make a Steve Austin joke? But I think it's a good thing that Fina wasn't running for president against him, because she said, talking to aliens in 6 months, Trump would say, well, we're going to bomb the shit out of them and then build a bunch of casinos on their planet within 6 months. So what's Trump's legacy? If I could try to describe the whole thing, it's capturing an underrepresented strain of American populism and then bringing that to the national stage. And that in and of itself is not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, but overall, you want to say there's a positive, what is Trump's legacy? He grew government. He paid off his corporate sponsors. He, fed the military industrial complex. He was a good little boy to the bankers as president. He got to reach out to North Korea. Did it really shift things long term, or was it a publicity stunt? I don't know. But what's his real legacy? What got him the presidency was creating a new kind of populism and nationalism that spoke to a wide demographic within the United States that was kind of underrepresented in American politics. And that in and of itself, I think in and of itself, we can say is a good thing. Whether the results of that are good or bad, I mean, there's a lot of bad shit with it. I'm not a nationalist, but there was a certain, strain or group of Americans that felt that the system didn't work for them or didn't speak to them or represent them at all. And Trump at least gave them a better illusion for a while.
Cool.
Can we start talking shit about Biden already?
Yeah, can I say something about the meeting with Kim Jong-un? I will say this. Somebody in Hawaii, I'm not sure if you guys were aware of this, but ever since Trump took office, it's been crazy. It was crazy here in Hawaii. We had a missile crisis. We literally thought Kim Jong-un was going to take out Hawaii. That was a serious, people were diving under, sewer drains and shit. People were scared.
Storm pipes and drainage ditches.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I really, all I did was go hide, and I really didn't even hide. I went to the bathroom, because what else are you going to do when you find out you're at home? And I fear it's either going to happen or it's not. And I'm either, it's.
Don't shit your pants. Just go to the bathroom.
Yeah, it could be the last time you have a good one. That's what I was thinking. I was like, shit. But anyways, you already brought up poop earlier, so.
There's always good news about poop. Eventually, we won't have to do it at all. And then there'll be more. Okay, you want to hear one of my weirder tech fantasies? Because it's going to be like Star Trek. We're all just going to agree to wear the same thing eventually, and that suit is going to have why would you have a bathroom if you have a suit that can just take your urine and, isolate any solids and just put the vapor into the air? Like, you just pee your pants and a little, puff of steam comes out of your ankle. All right, so $10 super chat. John Smith, give CJ some weed. Yeah, after his bullshit with TikTok and trans shit yesterday, he certainly could use some more. But no, eventually this thing will have a built-in diaper, and I wonder, like, will we poop? Will we after we upload our consciousnesses into robots? Will we poop? Probably not at that point, but we might even short circuit the need to defecate long before that. With, do astronauts poop in space? If we're all living in space, we're at least going to have to figure out something significantly different here. And I think this is really weird. I don't want stuff in my butt. Please don't take this the wrong way. But eventually you put on that suit and it's just got a little thing in there that you don't even feel, that, like, as your body digests food, it just pulls. I don't know. Maybe this is like unnatural and unhealthy. Let's just wait until we upload our consciousness into robots, and then we'll stop pooping. Okay. But until then,
weird robot looking things.
Every Friday, we're going to talk about poop. There will be good news about poop.
No. I gotta say no to that. I gotta say no. I will not have my name associated with poop.
Shitty Fina Fridays.
I was thinking
Fina Fridays. Every Friday, we're going to talk about poop. No, I mean, this is. Maybe not every Friday, but actually, is in terms of health optimization, understanding our own digestive systems, we still got a lot to learn.
So that movie that I made for you, do you remember I showed you the movie? You didn't watch the whole thing. Anyways, there was a fart scene in it. I make movies, you guys, and I made this movie.
No, I didn't watch the whole thing.
Did you?
Your abstract art project, we had it on in the room in Hawaii. I mean, you were distracting me while we were watching it, talking. I watched the whole thing.
But anyways, it's a musical, and I have a whole section of it where it's a fart musical kind of thing. It's just a whole bunch of people like farting. So maybe I am destined for poop. Who knows? I don't know.
Hey, everybody poops, and it's okay. No, I mean, getting real about our bodies, there's a weird, like, programmed shame or aversion around sex and shitting and pissing and our own bodies and our health, that in a primitive society, hey, we needed to have an instinct to not, like, smear poop on our faces. So God made poop smell bad to humans, right? So, like, bear with me. It's late in the show. We're almost done. But no, those instincts now, like, we can just fucking get real about sex and drugs and shitting and love and romance and all of these things that, by these, essential survival instincts, have been kind of suppressed. But also, just like out here, living off grid, how do you deal with shit? You kind of learn it's not a big deal. Like, we have grown up in a civilized society where technology makes us kind of separate from nature, and of our own shit is one of those ways. I mean, when you're a baby, you poop in a diaper, your parents take it away, you don't have to think about it. As soon as you're capable, you poop in a toilet, you push a button or push the lever on a toilet, and your poop disappears. Like, we don't think about that, and that's a weird disconnect from nature. But, like, out here, I mean, you realize, like, they freak out about off-grid septic systems, like, oh, your poop is toxic, it's going to ruin the groundwater, so put it in a tank and treat it like this.
I can't do it. Can we just, like, change the conversation? I know we said we were going to, like, a minute ago, and all the comments is poop now. I just want to change the conversation. Can we talk about anything?
Well, you know how our audience works. If you tell them you want to change the conversation, you're going to get flooded with poop jokes from now until the end of the episode. So let me do my quick wrap up here, since we're going to be over time. We won't go more than 10 minutes late today, but we do have a few discovering or understanding nature good news stories, and then we'll let Fina come back and sign off here and share any other critical comments of yours. All your best poop jokes win membership in the Producers Club on this special Fecal Fina Friday of good news. ScienceAlert.com. The Amazon may now actually be making climate change worse, scientists warn. Rampant deforestation, fires, drought, land clearing. No shit. There are going to be consequences. New invasive species of mosquito found in Florida from ABCMSN.com. A new invasive species of mosquito that has the potential to transfer diseases from animals to humans has been found in Florida. The species Aedes scapularis was predominantly found in South and Central America as well as the Caribbean islands, but it recently became established in South Florida for the first time, according to a study published in the journal Insects, part of the Multidisciplinary Digital Publishing Institute. I wonder if this is becoming a story like for the same reason that Africanized killer bees were the ones to be afraid of. It's something from outer lands where we have to keep the people away so they keep their crazy bugs away. Now, here's the story I told you about. People has this from MSN.com. The Arctic walrus turns up in Ireland, likely floated there accidentally while napping on an iceberg. And the funny picture here, I love this. There's a picture of a walrus with its like flipper over its eye, like it's embarrassed. Yeah, according to the Independent on Sunday, Alan Houlihan and his 5-year-old daughter, Maureen, spotted a strange, that's really Irish spelling of Maureen, Muireann, spotted a strange visitor on Ireland's Valentia Island, an Arctic walrus. Houlihan thought the cow-sized animal was a seal until he saw the tusks. Yeah, so they got video, they figured it out, and not supposed to be there. What a world we live in. Florida's new invasive species is a 10-foot-long river monster. This from CBS 4 Miami. I don't know if this is like understanding nature, just invasive species, but cool picture with this one too. Florida's already in a battle with dangerous and invasive species like the Burmese python, green iguana, and lionfish. And now there's a new predator in the state called the arapaima. It is a fish that can grow up to 10 feet long and weigh hundreds of pounds. Sounds like fun fishing. A deadly one recently washed ashore in Cape Coral's JC Park along the Caloosahatchee River, which runs from Lake Okeechobee west to the Gulf of Mexico. The arapaima is native to the Amazon River in South America and is one of the world's largest predatory fish. Its scales are said to be as impenetrable as armor, and it's ugly, at least to most people. Although Captain Josh Constantine, who's been fishing there for more than 20 years, says, I think it's kind of cool. So, but as he also said, I can't imagine it's good for our ecosystem. Next, Newsweek. Photos show strange sea creatures unveiled by mega iceberg breaking in Antarctica. Yeah. The mega iceberg breaks up and we get to see new sea life. Scientists have captured images of a region of the Antarctic seafloor that until recently was hidden under a thick sheet of ice. On February 26, a huge iceberg called A74 broke apart from the Brunt ice shelf in the Antarctic. The berg has an area of some 790 square miles, which is around 1 1/3 times the size of Houston, Texas. The iceberg split of this size is rare. An iceberg of this size is rare, occurring roughly once every decade. Smaller ones more frequently. But a German research ship, the Polarstern, was nearby until the glacier broke away. The seafloor underneath it had been off limits of the ship because the imaging technology on board involved dragging a camera behind the ship on a cable. Presented with a new opportunity, the Polarstern sailed up the gap between the iceberg and the shelf from which it broke, and scientists began taking snapshots of the pristine environment of the ocean floor below. They were thrilled with what they found. Impressive biodiversity. 5 species of fish, 2 species of squid, sea cucumbers, mollusks, and more. Photos of life forms can be seen below. And this is just, a part of the earth that humans had never seen before, discovered because an iceberg broke off. Yeah. Now, maybe this isn't good news, but certainly understanding nature. Back to the birds. We seem to talk about things that are fake a lot on the show. As endangered birds lose their songs, they can't find mates. So, even government drones, spy drones, they need to be able to talk to each other and communicate, or they can't hook up and make baby government spy drones. Male songbirds usually learn their tunes from adult mentors, but when aspiring crooners lack proper role models, they hit all the wrong notes and have less success attracting mates. So, not that this is a bad sign of anything crazy going on in the world, but a great, cool story about understanding nature and how incredible birds are, as fake as they may be. Finally, Smithsonian Magazine. For the first time, paleontologists unearthed fossil of non-avian dinosaur incubating a nest of eggs. Yeah, the find is the first evidence that Oviraptorosaurs, also called egg thief lizards, were nurturing their young within 70 million year old rock deposits located in southern China's Jiangxi province. Researchers unearthed a preserved fossil of an Oviraptorosaur. Yes, there's an extra syllable in there I was missing. Crouched over a nest of 24 eggs, reports Allah Al-Sarfasina, and 7 of the eggs were on the verge of hatching, making this the only fossil on record of evidence of a dinosaur brooding on eggs that still had embryonic material inside, and the first hard evidence that this species of dinosaur incubated their young. Wow. Yeah. This is why we need an army of drones to fly over the entire planet and just get us all the fossils we've been missing all at once with echolocation and who knows whatever other sonar high-tech shit. And with that, that's our headlines for the day. Let's get back to Fina for this special Fina Friday Good News episode. How you doing, dear? You have fun today?
Y'all had me again. I couldn't even breathe. I was laughing so hard when you guys took me off camera. I wish CJ was here to do the little smoke weed every day song. Gosh, that would just be the top of the morning. But maybe next time. There was some more questions in the comments. One person asked, since you brought up Joe Rogan, have you ever heard of the Colbert Report?
Of course, I'm a fan.
Cool.
A lot of his stuff now, but when he was doing comedy, it was more lampooning politics in general. So the funny thing is, when liberals make fun of conservatives and conservatives make fun of liberals, I'm like, yeah, they all deserve to be fucking ridiculed. Good for you. But when they're just doing their straight man shit like Colbert is now, it's like it's just obnoxious. But let's see, we can make it better.
It's the one and only Eagle Double G. You know I'm out with the D-O-E.
Every day, hold up, hey.
It's the one and only Eagle Double G. You know I'm out with the D-O-E.
I did not do this. I do not know what's happening. I do not know where everyone came from. I did not put them on.
I didn't hear. I need
later. And fuck on my camera. Oh. Woo. I can't even see the screen. All right. Copyright violation coming from YouTube to this channel again very shortly. Thank you, Steve Comic and Dr. Dre, for bringing us this musical
You
interlude.
did warn me here. I don't have the button there, but I did send it to Jim. So, but hi, Fina. Great show, guys. Just
Boy.
Yeah, you did a good job. Proud of you.
Are we? Is it time to end? It's like
Yeah.
2 hours and 9 minutes and 26 seconds into.
I just wanted
Yeah.
to say good job, Fina. I'm proud of you. You've made your captain proud.
Thanks, team captain.
So, any final thoughts, Fina? Did we give away? We already gave away our producer club membership. My screen froze again. Funny how it does that. But yeah, there's good news on this day in history, but there's been so much good news already. It's more than I can take. It's been so much fun. Thank you, Fina, for co-hosting, Jim for producing. Don't forget to go to AdamVersusTheMan.com to help support this show. Join us on Patreon, $10 a month. Buy your way into the Producers Club if you didn't win today's contest. And it has got to be a part of the conversation making the show happen every day. And if you're listening this far into it and you're enjoying this, you do. Give us $10 a month already, okay? Be a part of this. We're also recruiting still. Go to twitter.com/Adam Kokesh and see my pinned tweet there for a little recruiting flyer. And you see we're looking for help with Homefront Battle Buddies, our new veteran service organization. We're looking for help with the Gardenia Sovereignty Project, our micronation exercise here in Gardenia. And there's the recruiting flyer. And of course, Adam versus the Man, this production, as we have recently promoted our executive producer, CJ, to CEO, business manager, and our co-host, Comment Jim Freedom, is now executive producer Jim Freedom. Co-host seats filled up really fast. That was amazing. We have a I am excited about this being a feature of the show from now on, that more or less we are going to have a different co-host every day of the week. It's pretty easy, like learning the mechanics. Fina did it during the show today, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to bringing more perspectives into this. And congratulations to our producer club winner. I forget your membership winner. I forget your name, but being from Australia, I'm excited about that. More international perspective in our audience brings more to the show, especially in the producers club. So thank you very much for joining us. It's been a lot of fun with this good news, cutting edge of good news, Fina Friday. Mwah. Peace and love, y'all. Choose happiness and be excellent to each other.